Hey there, Sovereigns. Monica Grace from cardreadingqueen.com here. Today's content is how the masculine and feminine twin souls get triggered differently. So let's just dive into it. Before I get too far into it, I just want to say that I'm speaking specifically about the energies, and I will use the term he, she, him, her, just to designate between masculine and feminine, but that doesn't mean that the gender is necessarily a male or female. So I just want to make that distinction. You can be a female and you can be the masculine in your union. It's all about energy. So the masculine in the twin soul union gets deeply triggered by the feminine's desires or the feminine's lack of desire. And so an example for me is I was recently talking to my husband about how I envision us getting a new home at some point. And so we bought our current home, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, somewhere in there. And we intend to stay here for quite a bit longer. And currently I'm just giving the home a lot of love. So we're redoing our yard and like a couple other things. But I also know that we are getting a new home, and I feel like my husband he doesn't know that, and he's a bit triggered by it. And so I know that we are starting the process of manifesting that, like in the sense that I can just feel it. And it's not like we have the money to move now. We don't, we're not ready to let go of this home. Like there's a bunch of stuff that has to happen there. We're not necessarily ready to take care of our next home because I do know some stuff about it. And I know it's just going to be a lot more work basically. So, yeah, my husband's he's very triggered. I was asking him if we could look at properties online just to get a sense of the market. And he said, no, he didn't want to because he doesn't want to look at things that he can't have, basically. Like he feels a little threatened by that desire that I have. So I wanted to talk about why this happens. Basically, what's happening is that the masculine, and in this case for me as well, like my husband, he knows that he wants this house as well. So I'm not trying to manifest something that like we don't both want. So he knows that it's what he wants. But he's triggered because he's not ready to move forward in the physical. And it's true, really neither of us are ready to move forward in the physical. But for me, as the feminine, I want to start doing the inner work around moving forward and to start making progress. And so like some of the things that I want to do would be like upgrading our cleaning efforts on our current home. Upgrading the orderliness of our current home because we have like trouble spots. Doing more like beautifying our outdoor space because we currently have like lots of weeds and like it's we actually have like a chain link fence as well, which our neighbors are like totally not into. So we don't have the outdoor property that we have does not match the beauty of the home. And it's really that the last owners, they had redone the entire inside of the home, but they didn't have time to do the outside. They had to move before they were able to. And so we just have some work to do. And then as I was saying, typically houses you typically have to do a lot of financial work to make a big upgrade on your house because the houses that I'm looking at, they are, probably like 5 to 10x in terms of the financials that we would need. And so we don't have that now. And it's going to be a lot of work to work on that. So the masculine's not ready to move forward in the physical. And the masculine is, what it is like when they, like that's kind of what they're always doing, and how they're always approaching things is like, how can I ground this energy into the physical? And so they approach a lot of this stuff by taking action. They want to figure things out on their own before presenting them to their feminine. And this goes back to, again, just not feeling that pressure. Like they don't want to feel pressured to like be able to deliver something in the physical on a certain timeline until they have all their ducks in a row. So my husband was really triggered by this because he would rather figure out how to make this home happen and then present it to me in like a fully formed thing. Like, okay, we're going out and looking now. Like that's how he would prefer to approach it. The masculine knows that the feminine's desires are a reflection of his own desires that he has not realized yet. So, it's basically just, it's triggering to him because it's alerting him to something he also wants that he has not accomplished, or that he is not able to accomplish right now. So what does that mean when you have a gap in like where you are and where you want to be? It means you have to grow. And so it's very triggering to realize that you're going to have to expand as a masculine in terms of taking on more responsibility, being all sorts of things, like having to provide more than you currently are, having to do more than you currently do, and just having to expand. That can be a little stressful for the masculine. So that's how the masculine gets triggered. And so what does the feminine get triggered by? She gets triggered by the masculine's actions and inaction. So remember I said that the masculine gets triggered by the feminine's desires and lack of desire. The feminine gets triggered by the masculine's actions and inaction. So for the feminine, when she's deciding something, she doesn't do it with the present in mind, but she's always looking to the future. And a lot of that is that she's like in a really deep communion with the intuition for the union. And so she's seeing things that the masculine doesn't always see as quickly, because he's a little bit more focused on the physical. So the feminine is like zoomed out, she's not in the physical. She is in, she's in the spiritual. Like she's tapping into a lot of energies and flow. So she's seeing something that is meant for them in the future, but that they are not there yet. She also knows that the how is not her job as she tunes into the universe. And so this drives the masculine absolutely crazy, because it feels like, oh, here's somebody who just wants to like come up with a dream and doesn't want to figure out how to do it. And so now I'm stuck figuring out how to provide this dream in the physical. And so there's kind of this resentment there, I think. The belief that the how is much harder than the what or the why. But the feminine knows that that's not like the best place to put her energy, because the masculine energy of the union is going to be more efficient, basically, at coming up with the how. And that's not to say that if you are a feminine, you have the masculine energy of your union inside you. But you are going to do better when you focus more on just staying more in your feminine energy. It's just your natural habitat. And same with the masculine. The masculine's going to feel better when he stays more in his masculine energy, because it's his natural habitat. So the feminine doesn't the feminine energy of the union does not look at the how, because the masculine energy is just way more efficient at figuring that out. She instead looks at like, how can I create, like she's looking at it from an energetic perspective and an intuitive perspective of how do I give more love to the current situation so I can release it? How do I hold the vision and the space for this new thing that's coming into our lives? Another thing that triggers the feminine is that she's expecting her vision to come together very easily. And then it doesn't come together as easily because she can see the resistance from the masculine. And it gets frustrated because she already knows that this is where they're going. And it's like the masculine is feeling like dragged along almost, or she's getting that energy from her masculine. So here's what's happening there. When the masculine doesn't take action, especially, or if he takes actions that go in a different direction, she feels frustrated because she's trying to hold this vision and she's seeing conflict with it in the physical. So she just feels like, why can't he get on board with this? She also believes that the union can do it. So she believes in their union, and she also believes in her masculine to be able to handle it. So remember, the masculine, part of what triggers him is seeing this or hearing about this desire that he doesn't know how he's going to get there. And so there's like that lack of confidence, where the feminine is like, look, I know you can figure this, like, I know we're going to figure this out. She's not saying I know you can figure this out. Because again, she has that energy within her, and it's, they're going to do it together. But she knows that it's going to happen. Like, she already understands that. And so she's seeing that resistance in the physical, seeing the lack of confidence in her masculine. And that is very frustrating for her. The feminine really wants to work together. So the masculine has a tendency to always want to do things on his own in so many ways, in the sense that, he wants to kind of figure things out and then present it to others, especially his feminine. Like, the masculine never wants to present something half-baked to his feminine, ever. Like, it's like very triggering for him to have to do that. So he like takes a long time to kind of figure things out so that he can present something fully formed to her. The feminine, on the other hand, she wants to do things together because she sees it as going much faster. So she's like, look, I already know we're going in this direction. Like, I already know. So like, just get on board so that we can both put our energy this way and we'll just get there faster. And then the last thing is that the feminine understands that the masculine's resistance is just her own resistance within. And so that can be kind of frustrating for her, where she's like, I know where we're going. I know I am holding the vision, or I know I'm holding the space, but I'm seeing this resistance in my external world. And so that resistance exists somewhere inside me as well. And so that can be really triggering to her, in that she has to then find that resistance that's keeping her separate from what she wants. And she's manifested that resistance in the external as well. And so that is frustrating to her. So it's funny because I've done this now a couple times with my husband, where I have a big vision and he is like, you're crazy. And he doesn't say that, but he's very resistant to that vision. And so now I'm pretty used to it. Like, I already knew before I even started talking to him about this house, I already knew that he was going to be triggered by it. Like, I knew immediately, but I decided to just put out some feelers of like, is he interested in looking, whatever. And he wasn't. So, but I've been through this a number of times before. So I know that it's really just up to me to hold the vision. And so I know, like, another thing is like, he's really dragging his feet on calling our fence contractor and dragging his feet. It's like, it's just not a priority for him right now. And I was, I've been I've been talking to him about it a lot in the last couple weeks, hoping that he'll just take initiative. But then recently I was like, you know what? I just need to get the number from him, or like the name of the company from him, and I'll just call them myself. And it was just like this really obvious thing that I just realized like this morning, because I'm kind of like ready to go. Like, I'm out in our yard, I'm weeding, I'm planting stuff, and he is like, on the surface, it looks like he's not into this. Like, he's not interested in going out and weeding with me, for example. So it looks like we're making a different decision, but it's really that, he's working through the triggering around this, as am I internally, I guess. And it's really fine. Like, I'm holding the vision now and ignoring the outer reality. Because if I were to ask him now, he would probably say that he did not see us buying this house that we're talking about, or that I'm talking about. So my suggestion to the feminine is that if you are experiencing this in your union, then just hold the vision kind of quietly to yourself. And you can let your masculine know, but don't be surprised if he has resistance, and you can just feel free to ignore that resistance and start taking the steps on your own, and it will start to shift him as well. And so I saw that with our last house, where I like knew we wanted our last house. I knew exactly what we were looking for. I looked at I was just on the database. I forget what it's called, maybe like MLS, I think. But I was on there all the time, like searching for new homes. And my husband was like, okay, like, I'll go with you. Like, he was like a little bit down on the process. But I just knew that we were going to find the perfect home. And then once I saw the home that we have, I knew it was the right one for us. And I just kept like holding that vision, and we did finally get this home. And there were a lot of questions on the house side, but we were able to get it. So anyway, all of this is to say that if you're the feminine, do as much as you can to ignore the action and inaction of your masculine, because it's not helpful. It's not where you need to be putting your energy. So just completely ignore it as much as you can, and just take your own action steps. And if you're the masculine, then you can acknowledge your feminine's desires, but just you can also just largely ignore them, because your feminine will start moving forward without you on them, and it'll be totally fine. Like, it'll start to come together, and then it'll come together to the point where you can then see the path forward, and then you'll be able to kind of ground that in. So she'll just be getting the ball rolling. And if she is, if you're in union, if she's a healthy feminine, then she is going to kind of understand this process. So, feel free to ignore a lot of what she's telling you she wants, because not that she doesn't want it or that she's not going to go after it, because she probably is, but it's not something that you necessarily have to concern yourself with right in that moment. And she will kind of get the ball rolling on it. And you can be excited about that, because you know what's coming toward you, and you know all the cool things that are coming toward you. So I hope this was helpful to you. Definitely check out some of my other videos about the masculine and feminine on my YouTube channel, cardreadingqueen.com/YouTube, or you can listen to it on my podcast as well, Your Twin Soul Journey, or you can read about it on my blog, so cardreadingqueen.com/blog. But check out the playlist that I have on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.